All right, Packer fans, I'm Mike Wahle, the host of your On My Block podcast. We are doing a special quick Thanksgiving edition here in a hotel room. As you can see, my co-host, Amon Green, is actually busy enjoying some turkey cooking as we speak. So wanted to get you guys to make sure we had out our Packers-Eagles preview before anything happened this week. Let me start by saying BetOnline AG is our sponsor. Basketball is back, and BetOnline remains your number one source for all sports betting needs this season. You'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. As your continued source for all sports wagering information, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports and events, whether that's NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, NHL, MMA, tennis, boxing, even golf, esports. We talk about it all the time. So head to betonline.ag, betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% off welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure you use your promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards. Bet online where the game starts. I think the biggest news coming out of Green Bay this week, Aaron Rodgers admits that he has a broken thumb. And he said it hasn't been affecting him. He said, I think, 99 out of 100 throws aren't affected. Maybe 1 out of 100 are. What happens, obviously, now is everybody who's ever watched film is trying to piece together, okay, did he miss that throw to Sammy Watkins? Did he miss that throw to Allen Lazard because of his thumb or because he's having a bad day, because they're running the wrong route? Like, there's so many things that we don't know. There's so many factors that go into a game beyond just that thumb. I am infamously, or unfortunately, one of the reasons that Brett Favre broke his thumb on my helmet while following through in a pass against the St. Louis Rams back when they ran a TE on us. I got pushed back. He followed through, cracked his thumb on my helmet, played through it the rest of the season. Every injury is different. Obviously, Dak Prescott's going through something right now. Every injury is different. If Aaron Rodgers says that it's not that big of a deal and he's been able to play through it, then I think we just take him at face value. Certainly, I just have to say this because there's a lot of, should we play Jordan Love? What's the situation there? As a player that, is maybe in the league 7, 8, 9, 10 years, you're kind of just chasing the ring. The reason you're in Green Bay, maybe over other teams, is because of Aaron Rodgers, because of the opportunity to play for championships, because of the fact that you win the NFC North every year. There's a finite amount of time you have to live out your dream. There's a finite amount of time you have to make the most of that opportunity. And even if you're just building on the relationships between him and those young receivers for next year, I think as a team, you want to have the best players on the field, regardless of the situation, in order to improve, in order to get your numbers up, in order to get the chemistry back up, in order to get that winning feeling again and gain some momentum in the offseason. So for those reasons, it's always been a no-brainer as a player. I think I can speak for Amon when I say this, that it's a no-brainer that Aaron Rodgers plays as long as he can. If he ever gets to a situation, like we've said before, where he's asking for a trade or he just says, hey, my thumb's not worth it, I can't go anymore, then we take him out, or you consider putting Jordan Love in, or you put Jordan Love in. But until that moment comes, it's pretty clear as a player, we don't. I know general managers have to look long term. But listen, this is almost a year-on-year or maybe 2-year window that you have to actually win a world championship in the National Football League with the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers being this age, this point in his career, et cetera. So you want to maximize the opportunities you have at every step of the road. And we're kind of talking about that because the math, I think mathematically they haven't been eliminated, but let's just really not talk. It's not even worth talking about the playoffs anymore. I think it's more worth talking about how we can improve every week. What are the areas of opportunity for this team? How do we make the most out of the time we have left of this season in order to gain that momentum, to build on the pieces that we have in place right now, to identify some pieces that maybe need to be moved, maybe need to be improved, maybe need to be completely replaced. But this is that time of the year. You're always going to try to win games, and again, you're not mathematically. I'm not suggesting for a second that we're putting the number one goal in the National Football League is to win games. Period, and you do that by any means necessary. But luckily, that usually means playing your best player. So let's just leave it at that. Eagles secondary is going to be tested by this. You watch film on the Eagles, and I mean their RPO game, their passing offense is. It's astounding. They have some real talent, and I think what we need to do, particularly when you look at this team, how to improve, and the issues that we had last week in particular, but over the course of the season with communication in the secondary, what can we do at mid-season to improve production? Obviously, with Stokes being out, move Savage down to the nickel slot. Rudy Ford comes in that package, but do we keep him out there full time now? What are those machinations, and what are we going to do? Are we going to match nickel with 12 or 13 personnel. The Eagles love to run. Are we going to bring in a third linebacker? Like, how's that going to look? How do we get the best play? How do you get your best 11 on the field? Is really what you're trying to figure out. How do you get your best 11 on the field? And is it worth sometimes to bring in, like, maybe switch the play or the position of like a Quay Walker who can do a lot of things, maybe move him to the outside where he can, play in that slot and zone looks. And now you can have Isaiah McDuffie, and if Devondre Campbell's not in, you have Chris Barnes playing in the middle and doing a much better job maybe in the run game. And Quay can use his athleticism and kind of be maybe a bigger part of the passing game, be part of the run game in the on the edges, something that we've kind of struggled with. So those are all questions that the staff can be asking themselves right now, certainly. But just really, when it gets back to it, when you start looking at why you're losing games, like, can we get back to the technical aspects of football? Can we teach the fundamentals? Can we be a team that you would say is the best at the basics and has the demeanor of a team that is, preparing and has the confidence through preparation to go out and physically dominate their opponent? I think one of the things you have to point to is obviously Aaron Jones. After a great week against Dallas, he has 12 carries. I know he had 6 receptions for like 20 yards, 3.3 carry average, but that's just obviously not going to get the job done. And you just have to start asking yourselves, why can't we take advantage of our best player? That's a great question. Certainly, I guess the bottom line is we're going to have opportunities, I think, when we look at this week versus the Philadelphia Eagles team, to get into it. And let's just dive right in. Let's talk about our defense versus the Eagles offense. Go to some tape here. So the number one thing is everything starts with Jason Kelce. I can talk about stats all day. I think these guys are, third or fourth in yards per game. They only average 4.8 yards a rush. Obviously, Miles Sanders in the backfield has done a great job, but Jalen Hurts really makes this thing go, as you can imagine. The MVP talks to be around Jalen Hurts. He's done a great job of holding on to the football. I know he had a turnover last week, but they've been kind of few and far between. Honestly, everything starts and stops with this offensive line, and Jason Kelce is like a 6-time Pro Bowler. He's going to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer. Everything starts and stops with this guy. The way that he manipulates defenses, the way that he gets up on the second level at the linebacker level, the way he helps in the combo blocking with the guard, the center guard combination blocks, the way he gets out on the edges. I mean, this guy is like super, super special. Does so much that probably goes unnoticed. But this is what you're going to get all week. I mean, they've got the big guard Landon Dickinson from Alabama. I think it's his second year, and this is Buckner from the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, you don't see this happening very often, right? I mean, these guys can get after it, and I think the frenetic pace that they play with, sometimes we don't appreciate just, how physical Jordan Mailata. Obviously, Lane Johnson's one of the best right tackles in the league. Like, they're stacked up front. Dallas Goedert's going to be out, but they have A.J. Brown. They have Devonta Smith, Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders. I mean, they've just weapons everywhere. They have layers upon layers upon layers of ways to attack you. They run a very simple scheme. They do a great job of dressing it up. But ultimately, it comes down to reading your keys, being able to shed blocks, make tackles. This is a fundamental football game. They dress it up to make it look like it is more than it is. The only thing you really have to account for, right, in this game that's maybe different than some other games is that, it's on any given day, the Eagles' leading rusher can be their quarterback. So we have the under center. They motion over to trips. And I just love the fact that they're using 12, 13 personnel, and all they're running is the kick play. I just wanted to show this because there's just, again, it's a very simple formation. It's one that we've shown week on week in film study. Every team runs this. They run it out of different formation. They run with different personnel. They use motion, but ultimately they had the Indianapolis Colts guy out at the cornerback out of the numbers. So Miles Sanders knows if he makes this cut, goes straight upfield, there's no way he's not getting a minimum of 5 yards. It's easy money. It's like stealing lunch money from the from the second grader. Like, anybody can do this. And it's just a question of, when they come over, are we smart enough to close that down, read our keys, understand where we need to be on the field to be successful, go up there, same foot, same shoulder, keep it closed, don't box in, don't use that box technique that allows people to fall forward, and really be physical in the run game and force these guys to be one-dimensional. We go under center again. They got trips to the left. Wide receiver split out. They go motion center. Now they see that they're in man coverage because they bring the guy across. I just wanted to show this because this is a very unique way to to enter the tight end into the passing scheme, and you see what it does. So they're in man coverage. They have all these people up. They got single safety. They bring the safety up here to play against the tight end, but they're going to have to pass this off because he enters through the middle. They've got to split. What that really does, if anything else, in addition to all the play action, is you see how the linebackers are sucked up here. And again, all we always talk about is this space in between the linebackers and the secondary. This is just free yardage for the for Jalen Hurts and his crew to make hay. Big explosive plays off play action, inserting those guys in different positions. We'll look at it here. They come across, they show man 26 is down. Now when they cross release here, that takes time. It takes time for them to release, but that time also sucks those linebackers up in addition to obviously the play action looks. And now they just have oodles and oodles of space to pitch and catch with a guy like A.J. Brown, who's a phenomenal player. This is the stuff that you have to prepare for. I don't know if you're going to spy, if you're just going to hold a count, if you're going to rush a guy, if you're going to mug a guy over the center. I mean, one idea obviously is to keep Kelsey entertained the entire game so he can't help and you can single block with those guards. But Jalen Hurts can scoot. And when it comes down to it, he's very, very special in and out of the pocket. He can make every throw. He makes great decisions this year. The maturation process in this guy has been unbelievable. But you just see what he brings. And let's just go back. I don't want to ramble on too much about Jason Kelsey, but look what this does. Now, we talked about last week how shotgun play action doesn't fool other people when they're playing against the Green Bay Packers. Watch what Jason Kelsey's look does running off the ball, and he gets him to go. He gets him to bite. He gets him to bite. And it's that split second that'll give you time. But more importantly, it really makes it difficult for the defensive line to rush the passer. It's particularly their best player right here, Buckner. Now, one thing you have to appreciate, this offensive line does an extraordinary job in what they're being asked to do. And I say that in the sense that when you run the shotgun play action pass and you're running your center out of there, the space, if you just see the space that's left here for the tackle over the right guard, the defensive tackle essentially on any given play can have a massive three-way go with 2 to 3 yards of space on either side. So the job that the guards do in particular in this offense is honestly remarkable. And if they're not getting the credit that they deserve, it's a shame because this is very, very difficult to do. Like, in other words, if you said, hey, we're not only going to put you on an island, but we're going to remove literally everybody around you for 3 yards on both sides, and this guy can do whatever he wants, and it's going to be about, I don't know, 10 to 15 plays a game. Like, that is as hard a job as you'll find in the National Football League. These guys do a great job of executing every single week. We just see Jalen Hurts here, man. It's just, there's some things that are, listen, you never saw highlights of me doing that. Let's just put it that way. The guy's special. Got 6 in the box. And the times that they do get 6, you look at it and you think you have a matchup with your running back running the ball. So you got 5 on 6. You got to account for the backside guy with the quarterback. Now you actually have your running back as a lead blocker. Kelsey is a lead blocker, and Jalen Hurts is out the gate for 9 or 10 yards. I mean, this is the power of that offense. This is why the RPO works. And it's funny that, you go back and you think about Colin Kaepernick, really the Niners quarterback versus the Packers in that playoff game we ran for over 2. And you think, God, that was a long time ago where it kind of got popularized. And now you see some different teams. Lamar Jackson's running more of an option style than an RPO. But what they do here is really, really phenomenal of utilizing Hurts. And again, you see these split linebackers and all the space in the middle of the field here. Wide rusher on the left guard. You see Kelsey, and he's just out attacking. And Hurts, again, he can run for days because you have 2 lead blockers, and nobody goes and plays and accounts for the fullback. You see the play action. I just want to go back and show this. I love again when we go shotgun play action pass, but you're pulling offensive linemen to draw those linebackers all the way over here. And now you basically have one-on-one on the outside. And it's all you can eat. He had 2 window throws there with 2 digs. Very, very efficient. I think I show the movement here. Oh yeah, this is again what I'm so impressed with 56th right guard. That's hard work. That's hard work, and they do a they do a phenomenal job of holding the point, giving Jalen Hurts time to throw, not getting beat right off the snap, and then kind of begrudgingly giving ground on that, especially the right guard, that left guard spot when they do that play action pass and they're pulling guys or they're running Kelsey off the side. Like that puts that guard in a ridiculously difficult position, and they do a phenomenal job. I'm surprised that you don't see teams like the Green Bay Packers, hopefully, are moving that backside tackle around a little bit more, making it difficult for him to short set, making it difficult for attack of the line for the guard to attack at the line, and giving us maybe an edge that we can streak off of and then have that spy look. Defensively, these guys, especially since they just picked up Limbo Joseph and Ndamukong Suh, they are everything starts and stops with their defensive line. They can, I think they have 33 sacks on the year. They can absolutely attack the passer. They're high level. They brought in Hassan Reddick from the Carolina Panthers. I'm a big fan of his. He is a talent. Josh Sweat on the other side is a talent. Hard inside, absolutely murdering people. Fletcher Cox is still there. Fletcher Cox is like you certainly wouldn't say an afterthought, but I think maybe he's in the nearing the twilight or the afternoon of his career, still playing at an extremely high level. But now you bring in two guys who have been All Pro, Super Bowl champs, Limbo Joseph and Ndamukong Suh. I know Sue from Miami. I mean, everyone knows him from Detroit. I mean, the guy's an absolute beast. He's a professional. These guys are coming in to win rings, and this is the best opportunity they had to do that. But you just see the kind of the capability they have. It's the first offensive play for the Commanders 2 weeks ago. Sweat gets the sack, fumble, and you think this game's over. Commandos played a great game. But you see all the capabilities. Hargraves against the Houston Texans, he looked like an all-pro on this day. He had one of the better performances maybe of his entire career, but he's been playing at a very, very high level all season. And you just look at the way that Hassan Reddick flies off the ball, and you love when a scheme is just designed like, hey, listen, Davis Mills, they run a lot of this keep pass stuff. We know what the teams are going to do because they're worried about our pass rush. We're going to target the quarterback. We're going to fly to the football. When these guys are playing fast and just kind of playing their rules, they do a really good job. When they don't, I mean, their secondary with Darius Slay and Bradbury, they are phenomenal corners. It's tough to just drop back and play against these guys. I'd say the weakness of their defense, if they have one, is everyone's going to talk about their run game. We'll talk about it in a minute, but their linebackers and their safeties and their ability, sometimes they'll get into some miscommunication or have some, their eyes don't help them. In the run game, everybody talks about how susceptible they are. And the truth is when they get into their base defense, they run 5 down linemen, like they're stout. They have a great defense. What happens is the Philadelphia Eagles, they have a built-in spread of 8 points. So they give up like 18 and they score like 26 a game. So they're comfortable playing, 2 high safeties all the time and just saying, if you want to drop, 6 yards at a time, we don't think you're going to go the distance. We think that you're going to make a mistake. We think that you're going to get a penalty. We think that you're going to try to pass the ball because most coordinators don't have the patience to do it. We think that one of our guys is going to single block beat you. And we just don't think you're going to be able to score enough points to contend with us. And when you start putting the ball up, then you have some real trouble. 33 sacks on the year. You see a great job here on the doubles. You can move these guys with great double teams and hard running. We got a double pull here. Great job on the double, holding the point. Tackles around, gets another hand on him. This guy runs really, really hard. You see the tackling's not great in the secondary. We'll see another double team here. Great B block, I believe. And you just see the first step, second step in the ground. And I just want to emphasize that when a guard is able to get vertical on that backside B block, so that double team between the right guard and the right tackle that we're looking at here, that right guard takes an initial timing step, second step in the ground, and he's able to kind of try to go vertical as opposed to being comfortable turning his shoulders and kind of washing this thing down, which leaves it much easier for the linebacker to defeat that whoever comes off the tackle, comes off the block and make the play. You see a clear running lane here. And this is something that you're certainly capable of doing against these guys. They are blockable. They're big bodies, but they want to take on those blocks, and they're comfortable. They think they are capable of taking on double teams. I believe that a good double team defeats 99.9% of the guys out there not named Aaron Donald. See another thing we talk about, safety play. We'll see 2 shots here where the safeties just take poor angles Because they take poor angles, if you can get a full head of steam, you got to come in there and be ready and be violent. We see it here for 24 again with against Jonathan Taylor. Again, the great, I highlighted 24, but great block between the left guard and the left tackle, taking that down lineman to the linebacker. Jonathan Taylor makes a great cut and just slips right through here simply because 24 is not really bought into making that play in the hole. That's exactly what you have to be. Maybe he's late down, maybe he's late to the party, but it's a situation where you certainly think that, when you look at the passing game, you look at the running game against the Philadelphia Eagles, there's certainly opportunities to have success. You just have to be consistent. You have to be first to the punch. And certainly you cannot give away your game plan or give up on your game plan because it doesn't work in the first series and the second series, man. You got to keep hitting it. Passing opportunities. Again, Darius Slay is one of the best in the business. Bradbury's a great player. You look at they got trips. And as a quarterback, when you see this look and you know that, like, you know the safety has to come down, they're going to play single safety high to a trip side over here. You know that you can win if the corner plays flat-footed. So I'll go back and show this. So because the linebacker is inside the tackle, you know that the safety has to come down and play 3-on-3. So you know they're going to go single safety high. You have a pretty good idea. Now you look at the slot corner who's just above the numbers on the 30-yard line. Right here, if he's not ready to flip his hips right now, this quarterback knows exactly where he's going with the ball. He's running this route is away from the safety. It's in space, and he's not going to be able to keep up. These are the opportunities that are there. These are the throws that Aaron Rodgers can make in his sleep. One of the best in the business. Both these guys are really good. They're running the fake screen. And because they're running the fake screen and these guys watch tape, he bites. And when he bites, he leaves the safety having to cover two men. Kind of a gimmick play. Safety almost makes the play, but there are opportunities there. Listen, anytime you watch enough film, the only way for an offense to surprise you then is to break tendency, and that's one of those breaking tendency plays. We've seen that obviously with Allen Lazard and his fake stock block to the slant. Won us the game a couple of weeks ago. We see here they ran tight end across. A lot of people are doing that now, getting that momentum to make that cut. Instead of making the cut, they go play action pass. Held him for just long enough. You see that the safety is open up to the center and he's drifted inside and he's leaving space for this go route. These guys have been beaten, not a lot, but they have been beaten. You think about, who am I talking about right now? Christian Watson. They have been beaten on goes. When you run play action, their safeties will hold. Their eyes follow the quarterback. And when I say eyes follow the quarterback, if they're running backwards, they will drift to that side. And you just have these opportunities for big plays. It was a huge play in the Commanders game, Terry McLaurin. Get trips right. You just see the space. They're all up. And when you're up, good things can happen. But it only takes one person to lose here when you're playing up like this and you have a short breaking route on the outside. Again, that pocket of space is the third time we've seen that pocket of space be available to the offensive team. Again, we talk about that separation, and that separation comes out of shotgun here. But you flood the side with four receivers, so you include that running back in the count. So you have a trips right look with four receivers when the running back comes out of the backfield. All of a sudden, you have guys playing sticks. And what you really want to look at here is this linebacker in the middle of the field out of position, right? He's kind of drifted over to the side, and he's leaving that second window throw open for the receiver. Maybe he's reading eyes. Maybe he just has some poor discipline on that one play. But you see where the opportunities lie. Unfortunately, this game is a 7-point spread in the books right now for a reason. Like the Eagles are a very, very good team. I know they just lost their first game. Nick Sirianni It's crazy. Nick Sirianni lost his initial press conference and then has just won and built a great culture there. I know some of the staff there; they're incredible staff. All about football, all about winning. Number one in turnover margin in the National Football League. And if you're a head coach and you're preaching one stat to your entire team, if we do this one thing, we're going to have a ton of success this year. It's to win the turnover margin. These guys are number one. Jalen Hurts in particular has done a great job. I know recently he had a turnover or had a handful of turnovers, but up until the last couple of games, he's done an incredible job in the turnover department. And so what you just start looking at is, what are the keys to the game on our defense? Can our secondary read concepts and stick to the rules? Because they run a very simple system. Their quarterback is available in the running and pass game. But because they're running a simple system, they have to dress it up. And when they do dress it up with all these different motions, you see the tight end insert across the backside of the center. You see the way the center runs out and attacks on shotgun play action pass or on center play action pass. Like, you just have to read your keys. Can you read your keys? Can you get to position? Can we be disciplined through the whole game? Can we communicate in the passing game? Offensively, it's all about staying on schedule. And we saw this last week. Like, once things don't work out in the first series and the second series, once people start getting penetration on us in the first or second series, we kind of go away from, I bet, what was hoped in Wednesday's game plan practice. On Saturday night's first 15, you kind of go away from that stuff. And I think from a player standpoint, there's nothing worse than when you get into a situation early in the game and things haven't worked. All of a sudden, you feel like you've gone off script. You feel like the coaches don't trust that we can execute the plays that they've put in front of us to be successful. Because that's all, like, there's layers of confidence there, right? Like, it's not that the scheme's not working, it's that I'm not doing my job. So therefore we have to try something new because we know what they're going to run. I don't think there's a lot of surprises in the National Football League. There's trick plays, but there's not a lot of surprises. You don't see like guys coming out in a 6-2 defense all of a sudden with 6 down defensive linemen and playing goal line in the middle of the field. If you do that, you'll make an adjustment. But most of this stuff is like, are they doing a run blitz differently? Are they rolling coverage a different way to a specific receiver? Like, things that you've kind of prepared for as a coaching staff. So when you go off script after your first or second series because things just aren't going well, or you're down 14 all of a sudden or whatever, like, that is the worst feeling that you can have as an offense, as a competitor on that offense. And so I think we can do ourselves a service by trying to stay on script as much as possible, as early as possible, as often as possible. So the last thing that you say about these guys, they've been in 2 close games in the last 2 weeks. You have to play this game. I think the Colts lost this game because they were playing to hang on. You have to play this game to win. The Eagles are a team that are going to beat you if you get up a slight lead, if you keep it close, whatever, you're just trying to win it at the end. Like, that is not a recipe for success. You saw what Jalen Hurts did against the Colts last week. He can come back and win games for them. I think he won in the last 6 seconds or 16 seconds, something like that. But the point is, you have to play to win throughout the entire game. You are never playing to hang on. If you get a 7-point lead, you want a 14-point lead. If you want a 14-point lead, you want a 21-point lead. If you score 3 touchdowns in a row, you want to score 5 touchdowns in a row. That's the attitude, and that's kind of the demeanor you want to see this team have anyways. I'm sure there's some players that have had an incredible amount of success in the Green Bay Packers have that attitude, but you want to see that develop as an entire organization again since, I don't know, maybe since the Super Bowl era back in the 2010, that realm. But what we really want to think about just moving forward for the rest of the season is, like, just never be satisfied, man. Always be pushing. Always have the foot. It's like all gas, no brakes. Be all gas, no brakes with this team. Whatever happens, happens. You're going to grow from every experience if you give it your all. But this is a true test game. You're down. You're a 7-point underdog. This team on paper is very, very good. You can compete, but you can only compete if you stick to your technique, you read your keys, you're disciplined, and you have the wherewithal to stick through kind of the hard moments. So hope everybody enjoys a happy Thanksgiving. AG, miss you, buddy. Been a real pleasure working with Ahmad on this show. We could go through all the stuff I'm thankful for, but family, obviously, relationships, of course. And I love being able to reach out to the people who like to enjoy this stuff, watching these tapes, spending time with Ahmad, spending time with some other guys, and talking football. It's truly been the joy of, football's been the joy of my life. So thank you, guys.